Hi, welcome back to my celebration. 12 years in the industry as I have built AC Marketing Caribbean, and I want to cover 12-year lies that the world has told entrepreneurs. And I've done a few videos before this, you can check those out in the comment section. But as someone who has been doing this and have lived experiences, I thought it was best for me to share some of those experiences with you. And today I want to discuss this idea of equality when it comes to being paid. And I know a lot of the times this is already discussed from a gender disparity perspective, but I want to talk about it from the perspective of a small business entrepreneur, because there's already enough information about that. I want to really look at what it means to value yourself as a small business owner. So when I started 12 years ago, I used to charge $250 US a month to my clients in Barbados. And on average, I was spending 3-4 hours a day on each client, and I had eventually built up to 10 clients. Obviously there was never enough time, and over a period of time I lost my clients. I lost most of my business in Barbados, and obviously always looking internally, I was like, oh my gosh, I should have reduced my cost. $250 was too much. This is ridiculous. It's all my fault. And in hindsight, looking back at this, at that point in time, the timing was everything. Someone reached out to me, and eventually moved back to Barbados, to move back to Trinidad, with a company that was already established and within the same industry. And I got exposed to what they were charging versus what I was charging. And one of my biggest takeaways was the reality of doing business in the Caribbean. We value relationships over results. And it's a common theme. I don't think it's specifically to my industry as someone who owns an agency in the marketing world. This is not in silo, but I'm speaking within my own space and my own experience. And I've also experienced it as a consultancy, doing work and being exposed to companies basically sending proposals and pitching to get business. And ultimately, the folks who won this business was based on familiarity, not the actual proposals that were being pitched. It was a hard pill for me to swallow. Very hard. And you read a lot of stuff around the news from a global perspective, and there are reports about how impactful small businesses are. There's so much value to the economy, the bottom line. I don't even think I could start that discussion in the Caribbean, because we have no transparency. We don't like to talk about money. Even me, within the 12 years that I've been doing this, I feel a level of discomfort exposing what I charge, but at the same time, I'm conflicted. I just like, this is just gonna be this is going to be one of those see, just on time. Somebody is an ambulance passing. Okay, so there are all these reports that talk about the impact of small businesses and how important it is. I've also seen this in the public sector. I've seen discussions from a parliamentary perspective talking about the support needed for small businesses, but transparency, that doesn't exist, and what's the line are we drawing between cheap labor and slavery? Where's that line being drawn in the technological age where everybody's hustling to survive and they're barely doing it? And I think that some of them aren't even doing it, but I think that it has to start with the acceptance of change, and that's transparency. Change is uncomfortable. It's necessary, especially in a time where so many things are happening and the connectivity and access to resources getting more accessible, and oil resources aren't infinite. So how are we going to bring that change? And for my business, I had to make a difficult decision. The only way for us to be valued, for my team to be valued, for my company to be valued, is to jump on a plane. Yeah. So I want to start ending these videos on a lighter note. I think that going in that direction of change, it's just taking a while. And I want to speed it up by having a discussion around the disparity that exists with paying your freelancers what they're worth, with paying entrepreneurs, small business owners what they're worth. And small business owners, don't be afraid to have the discussions about what you're charging your customers with like-minded folks. There are Facebook groups like Graphic Artists in Trinidad and Tobago. There's some IT groups, Caribbean developers. Like, really have those discussions, because I've seen the job descriptions out there and they are looking for unicorns and they want to have champagne taste with a movie price. So that's it for this one. Check me back for my next live that the world's telling entrepreneurs. The next one's gonna be spicy. It's about failure isn't an option. Woo. See you then.